Fans of Final Fantasy have yet another reason to be excited for Final Fantasy 15, and that's because Final Fantasy 15 may be coming to the PC. In an interview with French video game magazine Jeux Video, Final Fantasy 15 producer Hajime Tabata talked about the possibilities of a PC version of Final Fantasy 15 and what it could bring to the game that the consoles may not be able to bring. Now, what those contents are, we have no idea. But thinking about that just gets a Final Fantasy fan like me even more excited for Final Fantasy 15. I mean, think about this. Think about the Final Fantasy games in the past that have been released on PC. 3 is on PC, 4 is on PC, 5 is on PC, 7, 8, 9 is coming out soon, 10 is on PS4 and PS Vita, 12, we're all waiting for a remake of that one, to be honest. 11 is still playable on PC. 13 and 13.2 are available on PC. 14 is available on PC. There's clearly a market for Final Fantasy games in the PC world. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to bring Final Fantasy 15 to the PC. If that is going to happen, I imagine it's going to be released sometime after the initial release of Final Fantasy 15 on PS4 and Xbox One. While we're on the topic, by the way, Square Enix, I mean, if you're going to release Final Fantasy 15 on PC, why don't you do the same thing with Kingdom Hearts 3? I mean, there's plenty of gamers today that are PC only that, had a PS2 back in the day when they were playing Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2. I think it's only fair that the PC players get their chance to play Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, a lot of people were shocked that Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out on Xbox One to begin with because Final Fantasy, why do I keep saying Final Fantasy? Kingdom Hearts was, for the most part, the main entry, 1 and 2, not counting, Chain of Memories, not Birth by Sleep, not Dream Drop Distance, just the main series. Those games were always on PlayStation. So it was assumed that it was going to be a PlayStation 4 exclusive, but it's actually going to be Xbox One. But what am I talking about? I'm getting off track and I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts. This is supposed to be about Final Fantasy. Now, Hajime Tabata also talked about the idea of having post-game DLC added to the game to spice the game up after the release. Now, immediately that got me worried because of companies like EA and Activision and Capcom to an extent, especially in the past, milking the fans for all that they could get out of them with DLC, season passes, all that bullshit. You know exactly how it goes. So it's worrisome to think that Square Enix is going to do DLC for Final Fantasy 15, but I am confident that Hajime Tabata knows what he's talking about, and he would make the DLC, A, not integral to the story, and B, not something that you absolutely need in order to enjoy the game. I mean, that's what DLC needs to be. If they really want to impress me, they should do what Rockstar did with Grand Theft Auto 4 Lost and Damned, and build an entirely new game from the ground up, using the same engine of Final Fantasy 15. You could use some of the existing characters if you want, or you could take characters that possibly die during the main game, and maybe they meet up in the afterlife, just like in Dawn of Souls. First I'm saying Kingdom Hearts, now I'm saying Final Fantasy. I'm getting my Square franchises mixed up. Look at Final Fantasy IV. Actually, I think Dawn of Souls was Final Fantasy II. In Final Fantasy IV, after you beat the main game, you can go back and all the characters that have died can meet up in the afterlife to fight the main boss. So that concept could follow over to Final Fantasy 15, or you could take characters that maybe branched off mid-game and they went off screen, we didn't see them again, and the update, the DLC could be a story from their perspective, what they saw up until they met the main heroes, and after the main heroes leave, what they did for the rest of the game. I mean, it would breathe new life into the game, show us more depth for the characters, maybe depth that we didn't expect to see, characters that may be forgotten would get their own story. There's a lot that you could do with that. The main thing that they cannot do, obviously they're going to have clothing, they're going to have items, they're going to have weapons, but they cannot have things in the game that are integral to the story that you need to pay money for just to be able to enjoy the game fully. And a season pass is something that I really hope is not done for Final Fantasy 15, because that would also mean that a bunch of DLC is planned for the game, and diehard Final Fantasy fans are going to want to buy it just so they can get all the DLC for a discount. But then, we're feeding into the machine again. We're giving money to these corporations that are putting out these season passes that we do not want. I mean, season passes are bad for the gamer because we're paying upfront for DLC sometimes we don't even know what the DLC is. I mean, you look at the Batman games. I mean, look at Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight Season Pass had to be delayed because the game was in terrible condition. What, is Final Fantasy 15 on PC gonna be another crap port? Thankfully not. Hajime Tabata has said that the game would not be a port to PC. It would actually be rebuilt from the ground up using the newest technology that the PC has to offer to make the game as different as possible from the console version. Now, that could spark some controversy between fans that are planning to play the game on console, that if the PC version is a completely different game, if it's completely rebuilt from the ground up, maybe they would feel like they're getting the short end of the stick. They'd feel like they're getting a gimped version. I would hope, though, that Square Enix knows better and would treat the Final Fantasy franchise with the love and respect that they've been treating it for the past 20 plus years. Make sure to check out the rest of Coed Gaming. Until next time, take it easy.
What's up, guys? Thanks so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't gotten a chance to already, make sure to check out last week's video, which can be found right here. Also, if you haven't gotten a chance to already, make sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. And while you're at it, make sure to check out the rest of Coed Gaming, where we upload gaming videos every single week. And as always, game on.